Hi, my name is Barry Manandi and you're listening to the ZiFM Sport podcast.
The hottest station in the nation. ZiFM Stereo.
It's Lionel Messi! He scored! The goal the world wanted!
It's time for the biggest sports stories.
It's Neymar trying to feed it through. It's a stretch and it's in! And I can't remember the last time I saw something like this. Extraordinary scenes.
The biggest interviews.
It's more difficult. Obviously, it's more difficult.
And all the analysis right here.
If they play poorly, they come back, they've got all the excuses. You can't have it both ways.
Every weekday, it's my sport, it's your sport. It's ZiFM Sport. Let's join the team for the biggest show in the world of sport on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.
They say triathletes are the fittest people in the world, and our first stop is at the Troutbeck Triathlon African Cup, where there were impressive performances by Zimbabwe juniors. And who says that Test cricket is dead? It was absolutely scintillating at the weekend, and there was a big reward for Kusal Perera, whose heroics over the weekend saw him climb up to the ICC Test Rankings after Sri Lanka stunned South Africa in the first test of a two-match series. And in the beautiful game, we preview the tie of the FA Cup 5th round, where Manchester United visit London to take on Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. That and so much more to look forward to in this edition of ZiFM Sport. And of course, there's always the daily staple, which is the daily sports trivia. Send through your hashtags, #ProFeeds Trivia. And the team to deliver this crackerjack show is not changed. They are Mike Madoda, Alus Bunjira, Chris Gray, Sean Tafirinika on production, and I'm Barry Manandi.
The Warriors, the Chevrons, the Cheetahs, the Mighty Warriors, and the Sables. From the pool to the track to the field, we are Team Zimbabwe. The Home Front. Local sports news and analysis.
Just a reminder of our WhatsApp platform, 0731-168-045, Twitter and Facebook at ZiFM Sport. We start in Nyanga, where Eustace Nishlag and Nina Aim completed a German clean sweep of the Bonacqua Troutbeck ATU Sprint Triathlon African Cup after emerging triumphant in the men's and women's elite category, respectively, while Zimbabwe's junior triathletes put up an impressive show at Troutbeck Resort on Saturday. 26-year-old Nishlag, who is a member of the Germany national team and a former European junior champion 7 years ago, dominated the men's elite field to become the third successive German winner after compatriots Jonas Schumberg and Jonas Breinlinger. Let's hear from the winning German duo of Nishlag and Aim.
Last winner was Jonas, and he talked to me and just said, go easy from the beginning. It's quite a hard race, and maybe I could learn a little bit from him. Really hard, not only because of the attitude, I'm not used to it, just also because of the course was quite hard, uphill and downhill, and we're not able to relax just a meter. We are all overworked. And I really enjoyed the race here in Zimbabwe. It was quite different, but really great organized. So thanks to the organizers, and it was a big adventure for me.
I haven't done such a hilly race before, so I was really excited. Normally I don't like hills that much, but yes, the race went really well. So I'm really happy with it. In Cape Town, my swim wasn't that good, and today the swim was much better.
Nishlag finished ahead of his compatriot Maximilian Schwetz, while Ireland's Constantine Doherty claimed the bronze medal in the women's elite race. Aim recovered from a slow start in the 750-meter swim leg to romp to victory ahead of South African Amber Schlebusch, while the pre-race favourite Caroline Hayes from Ireland settled for the third step on the podium. But it's to the juniors that we are most excited about, Barry, because our very own Matthew Denslow was the toast of our junior athletes after winning the gold medal at the Bonacqua ATU Junior African Men's Race, which attracted 18 participants. He's a Hellenic student, and of course, he's been doing great things even on the continent.
Absolutely, and in truth, this is one to watch. And I think what we can look at is the exploits of Justice Nischlag winning that men's side of the triathlon, and say he used to be a German champion in Germany, or junior champion in Germany, and look at Denslow and say to ourselves, this is one definitely who's going to be one for the future. So, because you've got to win at junior level. Ultimately, the ones you're competing with now are the ones you're going to compete with in the future. So if you can do this at this level, I think this is certainly one that we can continue to watch.
And of course, talking about his continental exploits, he recently won a bronze medal at the Discovery Triathlon World Cup in Cape Town.
There you go.
So not just winning our local competitions, but also doing it regionally. And I guess, Chris, it speaks to the work that the Triathlon Association is putting in and the junior development. Whilst we're being blown away at the elite category, our juniors are coming up and they look like they may well dominate in the years to come.
Absolutely, and it's really inspiring to see a sport in Zimbabwe where we're dominating in the junior levels, which bodes well for the future as well. I think it's really rare for us to look at our junior level structures and say, you know what, this is looking good. But in this particular situation, Matthew Denslow is looking really, really good. A gold medal in Cape Town, not an easy feat if you consider the way that Cape Town is structured in terms of those hilly features, everything, the running. I think that it was a really mean feat for him, and for him to come back home and do exactly the same thing, do better, for me, really bodes well for our juniors.
Send in your hashtags if you want to take part in our daily sports trivia that comes up straight after our play of the day. The WhatsApp number 0731 168 045. That's 0731 168 045. Twitter and Facebook. You can follow and interact with us at ZiFM Sport, or even in our individual capacities on Twitter. And we can always continue the conversation even after the show is over. You didn't mention Barry at the top of the show. Who's our artist feature this week?
Yvonne Chaka Chaka. That's what we're looking at. Exactly, Yvonne Machaka. So we're going to be going down memory lane, looking at her life and, celebrating one of our living legends, most definitely. And good friend to Oliver Mutukudzi, and also inspirational to many. I was very happy to see her link up with Brenda Fassie a few weeks ago. It was a surreal moment to see the two together.
Yeah, absolutely. You say linked up with Brenda Fassie. She came back from the dead.
Well, no, I mean, there was a video of her before.
Oh, there we go. Okay. I was like, hold up. I was stunned. I was like, what?
She's back. No, when they linked up before, it's important to contextualize.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you love South African music from yesteryear, if you love Yvonne Chaka Chaka, especially,
I love her.
You want to stay tuned to ZiFM Sport and enjoy our play of the day. Coming up, we've got our local sports news roundup, and then we go international with our sports news, and cricket is front and center. The exploits of Kusal Perera of Sri Lanka.
Zimbabwe's finest breed. ZiFM Stereo.
Let's wrap up our local sports news with swimming, where Zimbabwe's swimming team got their campaign at the African Swimming Championships Zone 4 to a bright start when they scooped 8 medals on the first day of the regional event at the weekend. Wirat Corey broke the championships record with a time of 31.49 seconds in the boys 13 to 14 age 50-meter breaststroke. The 4-day meet started on Saturday with 14 countries, including regional giants South Africa, taking part in the event. 2 athletics were Lino Muchena and Olivia Chitate won the 2019 Old Mutual 42-kilometer race at Old Georgians yesterday. Muchena, who is attached to Mr. Price, was the first to cross the line in 2 hours, 24 minutes and 58 seconds. The 21-kilometer race was won by Mishek Sitole in 1 hour, 28 minutes and 12 seconds, while Abel Chibanda was second in 1 hour, 9 minutes, 46 seconds. This year's winners walked away with $2,000 in both male and female categories. The half marathon winners got $500 each. And wrapping it up with football, where Zimbabwe will no longer host the 2019 COSAFA Cup, which is set to start in May. COSAFA had named Zimbabwe as the host for the tournament last month, and were only waiting approval from government. However, Minister of Sports Kirsty Coventry revealed that the tournament will not be held in the country. She said the move was not ideal for both the Zimbabwe Football Association and indeed the country. Now, don't miss tomorrow's show, because we're going to unpack and pick apart the meat off the bones, this decision and its far-reaching consequences.
Here we go again.
Enjoy world-class radio online. ZiFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZiFM Stereo and you got it.
This is ZiFM Stereo. From the front of the grid to the back of the net, it's ZiFM Sport. International Sports News Roundup, where the world comes out to play.
Sri Lanka batsman Kusal Perera has climbed a massive 58 spots in the ICC Test Rankings for batsmen after his colossal effort at 200-ball 153 not out guided the visitors to a thrilling one-wicket victory against South Africa in Durban on Saturday. Perera and Vishwa Fernando put on an unbeaten 78 in a last-wicket partnership to secure only Sri Lanka's second win in 14 Test matches in South Africa. Victory seemed unlikely when the ninth wicket fell with the total on 226, with the tourists chasing a target of 304. Let's hear from Sri Lanka captain Dimath Karunaratne, who praised his team for a fighting performance.
Yeah, I think it was a really remarkable inning. I think it's fantastic knock in the first innings as well. He got a 50 runs and then 150. It's no doubt it's not easy to score runs in South Africa. With this bowling attack, especially Rabada, Steyn, and Pilender and Oliver. It's really tough. So really good fast bowling attack. And by the way, I think he batted really well. And as a team, I think we did really good job.
Let's just put this into perspective, Barry. Perera was on 86, 14 runs short of a century when the ninth wicket fell. But he managed to keep most of the strike and to hit some telling blows in an innings of 200 balls, which included 12 fours and 5 sixes. I mean, how did he do that? Because you would have thought if you were a betting man at that stage, 9 wickets down, with the Lions still needing like 100 and something runs, you'd have said, listen, I'm putting my money on the Proteas,
Money on the Proteas, number one. And then number two, also you would put money on Perera not getting his 100, in fact, because the Proteas had the wind in their sails, had the momentum, and all they needed to do was put the ball in the right areas, and you felt that they would be able to get that 1 wicket that they required for victory. But Perera was absolutely dogged, playing some fantastic strokes, and I'm glad you mentioned that issue of the 12 fours and 5 sixes, because he was able to cross the rope at times when he needed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, this was with genuine cricket strokes, and I think that's what impressed me. He wasn't slogging, but he was putting away the bad balls, and especially with South African captain Faf du Plessis persisting with widespread fields for the informed batsman, he was able to cash in when he needed. Now, the South African skipper Faf du Plessis said that in the immediate aftermath of the game, the reasons for what went wrong in that final hour and a half will take a day or two to sink in. Let's hear from the Proteas skipper.
Probably go back and think what we could have done differently. When I was out there thinking, try all the different tactics, try the spinner, try the seamers, try bringing the field up, try keeping the field down. But he just manoeuvred beautifully with the tail the whole time. He managed to get the strike. He probably faced 90% of the balls, and that's where you as opposition is trying to make sure you bowl as many balls as possible at the number 11. But he handled it so beautifully. And when we got the chance to bowl at the number 11, he didn't nick it, a couple of few past the edges there. Obviously you want to try and hit the stumps. But on any other day, your number 11 nicks that. So, very, very disappointing sitting here, but I have to applaud him for a magnificent batting performance.
South African skipper there, Faf du Plessis, clearly disappointed with the fact that his team heavily tipped to go to victory even before this match was played, and then even more so when the Sri Lankans were 9 down, ended up losing the game. Where did it go wrong, Chris, for the Proteas?
You know what, the South Africans simply didn't bowl enough balls at the tail, and what happened was, look, Perera was simply brilliant. I think that's one thing we can take away from this, was he was able to then protect the batsman at the end. And so in that particular situation, it wasn't a case... Okay, South Africa did break down a little bit, but look, he was absolutely brilliant. And I think that's essentially what broke it down for the South Africans.
And of course, his due reward is the fact that he has climbed his way up in the batting rankings. But let's give you the ICC Test Rankings for batsmen, the top 10, what it looks like. The Indian captain Virat Kohli is leading the way in first place, followed by the New Zealand captain Kane Williamson. He is in second place. The man nicknamed the War, Cheteshwar Pujara, is in third, followed by the former Australian captain who hasn't had a lick of cricket in a year. He's in fourth place. Henry Nicholls is in fifth. Joe Root, the English captain, is in fifth. David Warner also hasn't played much cricket. He's still ranked number 7. There's a tie in 8th place, Quinton de Kock and Aiden Makram, the two South Africans. And then another tie in 10th place is Dimith Karunaratne as well as Francois du Plessis. As far as the bowlers are concerned, Pat Cummins, winner of the Allan Border Medal just a week ago. He's leading the way, the Aussie. And then Jimmy Anderson, 36 years old, but still going strong. He's in second place, followed by Kagiso Rabada, as well as Vernon Philander, the South Africans. Ravindra Jadeja, the Indian all-rounder, is in 5th, followed by Trent Bolt, the New Zealand. Mohammad Abbas is in 7th, tied with the very likeable West Indian captain, Jason Holder. Team Saudi, the New Zealand, is in 9th, and in 10th place is the off-spinner, Ravichandran Ashwin of India.
Hi, I'm JC Krill, Springbok and Blue Bulls backline player. You are listening to ZiFM Sports.
Around the world in 60 seconds. International sports news.
We tee off in California, where JB Holmes ended a brutal final day of the Genesis Open as a PGA Tour winner for the 5th time after clinching a one-shot win over Justin Thomas at Riviera. With the best part of 2 rounds to complete on Sunday, victory looked to be Thomas for the taking when he fired a second straight 65 to claim a full stroke advantage of the 50 at the 54th hole, only to falter early in his final round to open the door for the chasing pack. In North Carolina, Kevin Durant scored 31 points and was named MVP as Team LeBron erased a 20-point deficit to beat Team Giannis 178 to 164 in the All-Star game. Durant helped put away the game for Team LeBron with a 3-pointer with 2 minutes left for a 171 to 160 lead. Kyrie Irving made a leaning floater and Durant hit a 15-footer from the wing to seal it. And we're in Buenos Aires, where the venue of the final match in the round 1 of Super Rugby, the Jaguares beaten 25 to 16 by the Lions in their backyard. Your other results: the Bulls beating the Stormers convincingly 40 against 3. Sunwolves going down against the Sharks 45-10. Waratahs narrowly losing to the Hurricanes 2019. The Crusaders with another narrow win against the Blues 24-22. The Brumbies losing to the Rebels 34-27. And the Highlanders with a 30-27 win over the Chiefs.
Well, you take a tap in these circumstances.
The Daily Sports Trivia question is brought to you by Profeeds. Profeeds, your feed and farm professionals.
It's competition time. Simply send us a WhatsApp message. If we are here, send us a WhatsApp message with the hashtag Profeeds Trivia, and you might be the one lucky listener we call back. You'll field 2 questions, and if you get both correct, you'll be our daily winner and in with a chance of winning our fabulous first prize for 2019. It's a Capri double door 290-litre fridge, and our first draw will take place on Friday, the 22nd of February. That is this Friday, so stand by. If you're a daily winner this week, you're getting last. Hopefully it'll be lucky last. Today we got a caller on the line. Our quizmaster today is the lovely Chris.
So we have Innocent on the line. Evening, Innocent. Innocent.
Ino.
Hello.
Ino.
Hello.
Davey.
Yes. Apa.
So just to get us started like we usually do, what is your favorite sports team?
Manchester United.
Absolutely. Okay, now you've got to get this quiz correct, okay?
Oh my God.
I know Mike and Bear will not be happy.
Absolutely. That's why we're not talking to you, brother.
No. Don't say we won't be happy.
Your first question, Innocent. Which resort in Zimbabwe hosts the annual Bonacqua Triathlon Africa Cup?
Nyanga.
Which resort specifically in Nyanga?
Troutbeck.
That's correct.
Brilliant.
Well done.
Nice one, brother. Nice one.
One more, and you could be in with a chance of winning that double-door 290-litre fridge. Your second question, who was named the MVP of the 2019 All-Star game last night? Was it LeBron James, Steph Curry, or Kevin Durant?
Kevin Durant.
And yataurwa neka arrogance ka Pogba.
I'm a Golden State Warriors fan, so I should.
Nice.
Congratulations, Innocent. You want to stay tuned to ZiFM Stereo on Friday because you could be winning that 290-litre fridge.
Brilliant.
Well, you take a tap in these circumstances.
The Daily Sports Trivia question was brought to you by Profeeds. Profeeds, the performance feed.
Alcohol may be hazardous to health if consumed to excess. The operation of machinery or driving after the consumption of alcohol is not advisable. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18 years.
Kusal Lager is more than just beer. It's pure liquid gold, crafted from the finest local ingredients to deliver a taste that is somewhat dry, somewhat bitter, but never sweet. It's the taste that stood the test of time. It all comes together with a castle.
The big leagues, the big teams, the big players. The beautiful game on ZiFM Sport.
Let's start the beautiful game on the continent. Mother Africa, Mali beat Senegal 3-2 on penalties to win the 2019 Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in Niger last night. The much-anticipated final had finished 1-1 after 90 minutes and extra time. Senegal's Leon Lopi, Amadou Ndiaye, as well as Ousnou Niang were the unfortunate players to miss spot kicks, giving Mali their first Under-20 continental title. Mali had the better start to the match with Boubacar Traoré opening the scoring after just 16 minutes. Amadou Ndiaye then equalized for Senegal in the 75th minute to take the match into extra time. And this was an absolutely fantastic match, Alois. This was a great advertisement of African football and what can be achieved if you pay attention to your junior structures.
Yeah, exactly, Mike. I enjoyed the match. Technically, it was very, very good.
Very high standard.
And I also enjoyed the quality of the play. Physical stature of the players. You can actually tell that they are grooming their players very well. We are very quick to actually say, Madara, and stamina, and maningri. But other countries have gone forward. They've gone ahead. They actually know how to groom their players very well. But out of that all, the technical ability of those players at under 20 level can actually tell us that we actually have some bright future in African football. I watched Senegal play against South Africa. We down here in Southern Africa, we're still behind.
Yeah,
we are behind.
We're lagging behind. And of course, this final was a repeat of the opening Group B match, which Senegal won 2-0 in Maradi. Of course, when this tournament was just starting, but Mali were able to work their way back into this tournament, make the final. And then in this final, even though Senegal had the better of the play, Senegal looked the better side, Mali were able to hang in there, defend valiantly, take this match to extra time, and then from extra time see it out to penalties and eventually win. And you take a look, Barry, at the situation that is obtaining in a country like Mali. There's no way one can argue that Mali has better infrastructure than Zimbabwe. No way one can argue that Mali has got more resources than Zimbabwe. That the economy is thriving in Mali. So where are we going wrong, Barry? Because we always seem to blame the economy for everything. Hakuna Mali, hakuna investment. But Mali is managing to climb to the very top of African football.
What we're doing is we're taking a lot of shortcuts. We're not following the route to conquer. And the route to conquer for me is a case of, and I know Alois always preaches about it, the junior development, getting those junior levels correct. And if you look at those two countries, Mali and Senegal, they have done that absolutely correctly, where they've got age group teams, age groups that are playing regular football. And as you pointed out, Alois, they are developing their players correctly. It then is no surprise that they're both in the final and have a technical as well as a proper specimen of players putting their show on as they did last night.
And now on Saturday, South Africa beat Nigeria 5-3 on penalties to take third place at the tournament after that match had finished in a goalless draw. Now, all the 4 teams involved in the semi-finals, that is South Africa, Nigeria, Mali and Senegal, will now begin the preparations for the Under-20 World Cup, which kicks off in Poland in May. And that's another benefit, isn't it, Chris, of being able to perform at this stage, for coming up with teams that qualify for these continental tourneys and then perform well, because you get your players being exposed to a higher level of competition, not just on the continent, but globally, even from this young age.
Absolutely, and it's really important. I think sometimes we look at the World Cup and we see the World Cup in that one particular period, whereas in other countries, this World Cup is looked at 10 years before. People are planning for a World Cup, and this is exactly how you do it. You get your junior players to perform to the level where they can make it into the Under-20 World Cup. At the Under-20 World Cup, they are exposed to so many conditions that normally on the continent, in whatever tournament at the highest level, they would never be exposed to those same competitors, to those same conditions. So I think when it comes to looking at the Under-20 World Cup, we need to get a little bit more serious about it and say, you know what, we're looking at the World Cup, the Senior World Cup, and we're looking at it and it's so far. But this is exactly how you prepare for it for the next 5-10 years. It's exactly how you do it.
And Alois, I guess it also speaks into the confidence that these players are going to have in the future, because this is likely to be the group of players that will form the core, the spine of the future teams of South Africa, Nigeria, Mali and Senegal when they start challenging to qualify for the World Cup in 6 or 7 years' time.
Yeah, see, Mike, when you look at it that way, these players, they are going to meet each other again. They will meet again at senior level. When they play against Mali again, when South Africa play against Senegal again in 4 years' time, these are actually the same players that will be playing against each other. They would have known each other. When you have a continuous conveyor belt, the same players will meet again each other. That confidence will still come back and I know this guy. He plays for Mali left back. I played against him at the Kosafa. But look at us now. We played against the same South Africa that is qualified for the World Cup in the Kosafa Championship. Yes. But what they did now, they are coming from the under-17s. These boys from South Africa. Yeah. They've been together for a long time, and we play against each other and they beat us 2-1, and we think we are there. We are together. No, we fluke. We are fluking. We just.
We're capable of good performances once in a while, but not consistently.
Then we're talking about the but these ones are consistently grooming their players. Yeah. And look at them now. They're the World Cup.
We actually laughed at South Africa when at the Kosafa senior tournament they sent through a development side and they said that, listen, we want to groom talent. But I want to look at South Africa as a case study, guys. Look at this. What did they do a few years ago? They came up with a functional junior league where teams in the PSL now had junior teams. Further, they came up with a functional reserve league. The Diski Challenge or whatever, where you've got youngsters playing each other week in, week out. It's no surprise that they're here. Let me tell you now, these guys, South Africa, are going to be a fixture at the Senior World Cup, qualifying year in, year out. They will, because they're preparing for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I think one of the points, Chris, that was brought out by Alois earlier was the fact that these guys are big. If you take a look at the physical stature of the boys from Mali, from Senegal, they were big. And then Zimbabweans, in our cynicism, will say, there's age cheating, Madara. But the fact is, some of these countries have already migrated to a policy where they are identifying athletes and physical specimens and then teaching them and coaching them how to play football.
Absolutely. And it's really easy to pick kids out. You can tell in a classroom, this one's going to be tall, this one's going to be tall. And even when kids are playing outside, you can say, okay, this one is really good with the ball. It's those very basic things. And even when it comes to what these kids are eating and how they are training when they're in the gym, I think even if you look at high schools in South Africa, there is a very regimented systems for their athletes. They eat specific things, they train at specific times, and they carry it over. I think you see it a lot with the Mdariki brothers. Those two trained in South Africa, and even now when they're at home, they insist, you know what, we have to train, we have to eat in a particular way, and that's exactly where it's
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, I think probably the best example will be Tabani Maguranyanga, the young man that we interviewed on Thursday. We're going to be posting some pictures of TJ Maguranyanga. He is 16 years old. He's just turned 16. He's 1.95 meters tall. He is 90 96 kgs heavy.
Yeah.
He runs 100 meters in 11
flat.
seconds flat. Now, this was timed in August. He's probably a lot faster than that now.
Yeah.
He's 16 years old. So don't tell me, Zimbabwe, that we don't have these mandimba at the age of 15, 16. We have.
We're not identifying.
Yeah, they just need to be identified. This is ZiFM Sport. For your thoughts, your take, your analysis, your contribution, send us a WhatsApp message on 0731 168 045.
The league that makes football oh so beautiful. Where artistry and strokes of genius are the order of any day. Where the game is played with a smile and the little master creates his magic. All the news from the Spanish La Liga on ZiFM Sport.
In La Liga, Barcelona marked the signing of a new contract for coach Ernesto Valverde with a 1-0 win over relegation battlers Real Valladolid to strengthen their grip at the top of La Liga. And in other news, Alvaro Morata set up Antoine Griezmann to score the winner as Atletico won 1-0 against Rayo Vallecano, ending a run of 2 consecutive defeats for Diego Simeone's side. But the result I'd like to get the thoughts of the team in studio on is that of Real Madrid, where Santiago Solari insists Real Madrid will keep fighting for the La Liga title despite their 5-game winning run ending with a stunning 2-1 home loss to Girona. Casemiro's first half header had Madrid 1-0 up and in total control against Eusebio Sacristan's La Liga strugglers at the Santiago Bernabeu, but within 10 second half minutes, Cristian Stuani's penalty and Porto's header had earned Girona's first win away to Madrid and moved them 4 points clear of the relegation zone. Bottom of the league, Girona. Alois, Real Madrid losing, and it's not so much that it's a crisis at the Santiago Bernabeu or anything of that nature, but it's just the patchy nature of the results that are coming out of the Bernabeu. Can't be happy for any fan.
Yeah, it's not nice. They're actually losing important points at the Bernabeu. You know, you could actually say, okay, away from home, this smaller team, okay, they give out a very big fight, but not at the Bernabeu. They're coming to collect points at the biggest stadium, one of the biggest stadiums in European football, and one of the biggest clubs in European football, coming there to collect points. I don't think it's actually good for Real Madrid to be, for fans, actually in general, for fans to be losing such matches at home. It's not right. It might not be a crisis, but it might just be a crisis very soon.
In local speak, Mike, toti kwafumuka.
Yes, something like that.
But I've been arguing, Barry, since the start of the season that Real Madrid is a team in need of renewal. You've got a lot of guys who are club legends who I feel, to be honest, are no longer performing at the same level that they were when Real Madrid was dominating in the Champions League. And again, I'll always go back and argue that the Champions League masked a lot of what was wrong with Real Madrid. People tend to forget that the Champions League is a cup competition. That is not your week in, week out job. Your week in, week out job is to win the league. The league remains the top competition in European football and in a professional footballer's life. That's what you play for on every given Saturday. The Champions League is like the FA Cup, but it's just more prestigious because it is played for by champions in Europe.
You play 10 good games in the Champions League.
You play like 4 or 5 good games. You time your run very well. You could win it because it's a cup competition. Real Madrid has not done very well in the league where they've been called upon to churn out consistent performance after consistent performance. And now there are players that are starting to make mistakes, players who are not performing well. Sergio Ramos, as hugely popular as he is, he comes to mind. Marcelo, as hugely popular as he is, he comes to mind. Those players are not playing at the same level. Even if you take a look at the so-called best player in the world, Modric, he's performing below standard. You take a look at Toni Kroos, he's looking lost. Casemiro as well, he is making mistakes. So you're looking at a team that I believe is now on the wane, and Real Madrid need to invest in new stars, new players that will be able to gel with some of the young players that are still. I believe Varane is a good player. He's still very much a world-class centre-back, and some guys that are still there to come up with a new team that can challenge on both fronts and not just in the Champions League. Even in the Champions League, guys, Alois, if you had watched the match versus Ajax of Amsterdam, they were dominated. They were dominated by a team of youngsters.
They were dominated by Ajax as well. the point that I wanted to bring, Mike, is those guys, the senior players, they have lost their aura. They've lost their invincibility. The other younger players from the other teams, they don't fear them anymore. They can, a younger player will just come and say, I'll go past Sergio Ramos.
I can beat him for pace.
I can beat him for pace. I can do this. So they don't have that aura. They don't have that invincibility. So like Barry said, team Trongo and they just say, you know what? It's Real Madrid. They're just like ordinary.
It happened to Barca when they persisted with Xavi, when they persisted with Iniesta, when they persisted with players.
It was starting to
Dani
happen.
Alves,
etc. There was a point where Puyol was actually that sort of a player. He was a bit of a liability. He was slow, and players were now getting beyond him. Thankfully, Barcelona didn't persist with those players for too long. They managed to stem the tide and then renew the squad. And now the question, Chris, is do you renew for Real Madrid? You see what they're trying to do with Santi Solari. They're trying to use the model of let's bring up one of our coaches from the juniors and promote players from within. We can even see some of the stars that are beginning to pop in there. They've come out of the junior structures. Or do you stick with the time-honored tradition at Real Madrid where you buy Galacticos, you go out, you pay top dollar for the stars that have made names already, and you bring them into the squad and you compete? Which way do you go?
I think you need to do a little bit of both. You need to balance both. Obviously, I think if you immediately want to get out of a crisis, you want to go and get those Galacticos. If not for the fans, to just make sure you are getting those points week in, week out. Then you need to definitely go out and get them. But in terms of a long-term plan, then you do need to pull up the juniors and say, you know what, these guys are going to form the spine in 2-3 years' time. These guys are going to form the spine of Real Madrid. So you do need to balance both. Buying the Galacticos, you can't do that every season, and it's costly. At the end of the day, it is costly. At some point, the club is going to say, you know what, time up.
But these clubs make money, Chris. And that's why they exist. I don't believe, you take a look at some of the young players that are coming through, you think those guys can compete? I don't think so. They're simply not good enough. And that's what happened to Barcelona. You know, when you have players that are coming in from an academy, it's a once in a generation situation. Manchester United, you know, they still talk about the class of 92. When was that? 92. You know, that's when they're talking about.
We have only recently gotten
Barcelona talks about that. What's this? La Masia group. But that was like 12 years ago. And then Liverpool will talk about the players that came in, Michael Owen, Steve McManaman, Robbie Fowler. But those guys were like in the late 90s. So once in a while you hit that, you know, but you know, you still then have to go and shop around for some really good players. And Real Madrid, I believe, is at that stage. I take a look at the young players that they're promoting. You line up those young players against a Messi. Messi is he's looking at them and saying, okay, you know, tonight is going to be a good night. No,
you see that crop of players, man. You see Asensio. He is a very, very good player, but he still needs those Galacticos to be playing around him so that he can grow. By the time he's 25, 26, now when he hits his prime, then you can win those Galacticos off. Then he takes center stage, but not to just bring those
for him
those
to carry
guys
the team
and say, good, now he's carrying the team. He can't do it. So they need to go out, like Chris said, to go and buy. Then they balance it out and bring a few youngsters to come in so that they can balance them. Then they can grow with the Galacticos around them.
All right, let's give you the log standings in La Liga. Barcelona out in front on 54 points. Atletico Madrid is in second. They are 7 points adrift of Barcelona on 47 points. Real Madrid now a full 9 points behind Barcelona. They're in third position on 45 points. And then Sevilla occupying the last Champions League spot on 37 points. So there is action tonight. It's Huesca entertaining the Athletic Club from Bilbao.
Horsepower unmatched. Torque to beat the best. Speed unrivaled. Sleek and easy on the eye. Let's get behind the wheel of football engineered to perfection. The Bundesliga, made in Germany.
Tonight's action in the Bundesliga, Borussia Dortmund coach Lucien Favre is urging the injury-hit Bundesliga leaders to quickly recover from their Champions League mauling at Tottenham Hotspur with another big win over bottom side Nuremberg tonight. Nuremberg were thrashed 7-0 at Signal Iduna Park when the sides last met in September, and Dortmund could do with another thumping win to restore their flagging confidence. Taking a look at this particular match, are they walking away from this with a win after, you know, their confidence being shaken a little bit?
I think so. I'll tip them to win. I don't think it's going to be 7-0 though. I think they need this win because they realize that the pressure is on from Bayern Munich, and they also realize that the game is up in the Champions League. Barring a miracle, they're not going to beat Spurs by 4 clear goals to qualify. Had they got an away goal at Wembley, I think that might have made things interesting, a 3-1 type of result, but 3-0. So they're going to be concentrating very much on the league, and this is one of the teams that they know they have to beat if they're to keep their place at the top.
So Fabrice Jeffers for his team to rediscover some form to restore their 5-point lead over second-placed Bayern Munich, who beat Augsburg 3-2 on Friday.
Paolo Rossi, Marco van Basten, George Weah, Gabriel Batistuta, Alessandro Del Piero. Serie A has been home to some of the world's finest strikers. And now they welcome arguably the greatest of them all, Cristiano Ronaldo, the best of Italian football on Z.
Quick update from Italy. Paulo Dybala spectacularly ended his 10-game goal drought, and Cristiano Ronaldo was on target again as Juve cruised to a 3-0 home win against lowly Frosinone. Argentina forward Dybala, who last scored in December, silenced his critics by firing home an unstoppable 25-yard effort, and Leonardo Bonucci struck Juve second. 11 minutes later, Ronaldo drilled home his 21st of the season in all competitions just after the hour mark to ensure Juve equaled the biggest win of this season. AC Milan recovered from a loser position to win 3-1 at Atalanta and strengthen their pursuit of qualification for the Champions League. And top scorer Mauro Icardi watched from the stands on Sunday as Inter Milan strengthened their grip on third place in Serie A with a hard-fought 2-1 win over Sampdoria at the San Siro. If you fancy some Italian action tonight, it's Roma taking on Bologna.
All the rivalry.
The captain likes the touch paper. It is blue touch paper. Always him on Derby Day.
All the stars.
Absolutely brilliant again from Mo Salah. The twinkling feet, the ice-cold finish, the Egyptian on fire.
And all the game-changing moments.
Aguero!
All the updates from the Premier League on ZiFM Sport.
This is the league we want to watch.
As a waiter or someone at home ever brought you a really massive starter before you actually get the main meal? Well, that's what the FA Cup sort of felt like, because we had a whole lot of fixtures that were all building up to tonight's match. Let's give you the results of the fixtures played over the weekend before we talk about tonight's match. Queen's Park Rangers beaten at home 1-0 by Watford. Brighton 2-1 over Derby, progressing to the next round. Millwall 1-0 over Wimbledon. That was probably the most exciting match of the weekend. Manchester City 4-1 over Newport County. Nothing new to see there. Wolves 1-0 over Bristol City. Crystal Palace 2-0 over Doncaster Rovers, and then Swansea City prevailing 4-1 over Brentford. But tonight is where it's all at. Alexis Sanchez and Romelu Lukaku could get the chance to start when Manchester United travel to Chelsea in the 5th round of the FA Cup tonight. Injuries to Jesse Lingard, I was about to say Yessie, Jesse Lingard and Anthony Martial means there's an opportunity for the likes of Sanchez and Lukaku to feature, both of whom have largely been restricted to the bench duty under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Let's get the pre-match thoughts of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
We know there was a spell against PSG, 7, 8, 10 minutes there that we lost our way a bit, but apart from that we weren't too bad defensively. Well, you don't panic because you've lost the game. You don't change everything because it doesn't change the mindset at all. We need to keep working on the way we want to play football, the way we approach the games will always be in an attacking, positive mind. We want to go down to Chelsea. We want to have Liverpool here. We still want to impose ourselves on those games. But there's quite a few other teams that have injuries, so you adapt and you have to manage that.
Speaking of grounds, Fumuka, Stamford Bridge is one, isn't it?
Yeah, but we don't know what Chelsea side shows up.
Absolutely, that's it.
Yeah, if if they are competitive, it can be an interesting match. But if the same side shows up that played City, this could be nasty.
Yeah.
The only thing though is to watch whether Lukaku starts in attack. Sanchez is chosen to play, etc. And those players have not exactly been at their best. I think United has been very good when you've had Lingard, Martial, as well as what's his name again? Lingard, Martial, and Rashford, in attack. Yeah,
Rashford down the middle. And Rashford down the middle has been phenomenal. And that's Manchester United arriving at Stamford Bridge. Bunj. Listen, they've had the wind in their sails, as it were. It didn't go quite according to script in the Champions League, but besides that, in the league and certainly in the FA Cup, Manchester United has been showing what they possibly can deliver. Chelsea needs to show up not only to save their manager in inverted commas, but also to show their fans that they actually want to fight for this.
Yeah, I think the dent by the defeat by PSG, they will take it and say, you know what, any team can lose to PSG.
Yep.
We are still on a roll domestically. So I think they will still come back with that momentum, with that confidence that we are doing well in the EPL. They'll come like that. I'm only disappointed that we won't be having Lingard and Martial. Like Mike said, they gave Manchester United that mobility up front, that is needed, the sharpness.
Yeah.
I'm not happy with Lukaku. When it's Lukaku, he stands there. He is not as mobile. When you look at Alexis Sanchez, he is not also as mobile as well. So the game tends to be slower with those two. And me, I don't like a slow game.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna get. I'm just praying that Chelsea that Mike was talking about arrives today. That one, we want that one to come to the match.
The Man City one.
Yeah, the Man City one.
Yeah.
But if it's the other Chelsea that can actually hit top notch, I think it can be a very tough match for Manchester United.
Nonetheless, we're in for some entertaining football tonight. It's Manchester United. In fact, no, it's Chelsea versus Manchester United from Stamford Bridge. We've got to go. We'll give you the results of that and so much more on tomorrow's show. Don't forget, we've got that special feature where we're going to look at us, Zimbabwe, not hosting COSAFA and its implications. Don't miss that show. May God richly bless you. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Manandi, out.
Be sure to catch ZiFM Sport every weekday on ZiFM Stereo. My station, your station.